Namaste, myself Treni Khurana, Assistant Professor, Faculty Physiotherapy and Diagnostics, JVN Rajasthan. Today we are going to discuss about cerebellar lesions. Cerebellar disorders typically manifest with ataxia, coordination of movement, instability of gait, impairment of articulation, and difficulty with eye movement and swallowing. It has become apparent recently that many cerebellar patients also experience changes in intellect and mood. Further, mounting evidence suggests that cerebellar pathology may be associated with alterations principally in mental function rather than motor performance. Partially categorized diseases affecting cerebellum. Types are developmental, that these are non-progressive cerebellar ataxia, Chiari malformation, Tandy Walker cyst, agenesis, partial agenesis, pontocerebellar hypoplasia. Toxic. These include alcohol, mercury, and other heavy metals, lead, thallium hyperthermia, organic solvents, toluene, benzene, carbon disulfide, penicillin, heroin, carbon monoxide insecticides. Autoimmune or inflammatory are multiple sclerosis, paraneoplastic cerebellar degeneration, celiac diseases, Pact's disease. Vascular include ischemic infarction, vasculitic infarction, hemorrhage, superficial siderosis. Metabolic includes vitamin E deficiency, hypohyperthyroidism, Hashimoto's thyroiditis, hypoparathyroidism, vitamin B12 deficiency, thiamine deficient, Wernicke's encephalopathy with dentate and cortical necrosis. Infectious, these includes abscess, encephalitis, human immunodeficiency virus, progressive multifocal leukoencephalopathy, Jacob's disease, Lyme's disease. Iatrogenic, these are anticonvulsants, chemotherapy, tumors, primary tumor, astrocytoma, medulloblastoma, ependymoma, cerebellopontine angle schwannoma, meningioma, Lhermitte, secondary trauma, penetrating closed head trauma. Degenerative inherited autosomal recessives include Friedreich's ataxia, ataxia with vitamin E deficiency, spastic ataxia of Charlevoix-Saguenay, ataxia with oculomotor apraxia, partial agenesis. Autosomal dominants include SCA1 to 25 identified to date. Episodic ataxia type 1 and 2. X-linked recessive includes sideroblastic anemia and ataxia. Sporadic include multiple system atrophy, sporadic ataxia of undetermined origin. Cerebellar disorders primarily affect motor functions and can lead to significant and serious restrictions in activities of daily living. Possibilities for medical interventions are rare and limited to the specific diseases and symptoms. Furthermore, motor rehab for patients suffering from cerebellar damage is challenging, since the cerebellum is known to play an important role for execution as well as for relearning of previous movements. Many patients present to emergency room with acute symptoms of vertigo and imbalance. Others seek consultation from physician with gradual imbalance and dizziness. In either case, determining the presence of cerebellar involvement with or without peripheral vestibular hypofunction has important treatment implications. Cerebellar or brainstem stroke patients presenting to the emergency room with vertigo and imbalance should be tested for a cerebellar or brainstem stroke. However, a lesion may not always be apparent on a CT scan. If history and other clinical findings are not consistent with benign paroxysmal positional vertigo, peripheral vascular neuritis, vestibular migraine, stroke should be considered. One way to differentiate between a stroke and a peripheral problem is the inability of the individual to coordinate his legs to walk. Anterior inferior cerebral artery stroke In this, if cerebral stroke is related to a blockage or hemorrhage of the anterior inferior cerebral artery, there is a possibility that the labyrinthine artery could be affected. The labyrinthine artery supplies the peripheral vestibular apparatus. In this case, patients would also have both hearing loss and peripheral vestibular hypofunction on the same side of the stroke. These patients should be referred to a clinic that specializes in both vestibular function testing and treating patients with central and peripheral vestibular involvements. Cerebellar atrophy or degeneration. Cerebellar degeneration. It is a progressive disease which presents with an ataxic gait and imbalance. Subtypes may also affect both central and peripheral pathways and cause abnormalities in vestibular ocular reflex as well as oculomotor deficits. Studies have shown that there is a high risk of falls with injuries with this population, and fall prevention therapy is strongly suggested. MRI can help locate the site of damage and amount of cerebellar atrophy. Clinical tests and measures to identify cerebellar involvement, cerebral signs which can be found during a thorough oculomotor exam include gaze evoked nystagmus, smooth pursuit and saccade abnormalities, and the inability to suppress the vestibular ocular reflex. Because of these deficits, many patients complain of double vision or blurring, with walking or head movements causing dizziness and nausea. A scale for the assessment and rating of ataxia can quantify impairments including gait, stance, sitting, speech, and coordination, but does not address oculomotor deficits. Computerized dynamic posturography quantifies ability of patients to utilize their visual, somatosensory, and vestibular systems. Patient with cerebral The Berg Balance Scale and Dynamic Gait Index are outcome measures that determine fall. Clinical tests and measures to identify peripheral vestibular involvement. It is head thrust test, which is also known as head impulse test, can be used at the bedside to assess bilateral or unilateral hypofunction. Diagnostic tests include bithermal caloric and rotary chair, performed in specialized dizziness and balance centers and ENT clinic. Determine the degree of vestibular loss and amount of central compensation. Patient prognosis. Even though patients with cerebellar involvement require more physical therapy visits than those with peripheral vestibular loss, these patients can benefit from vestibular rehab. If the physician is able to determine the diagnosis and prompt refer the patient with cerebellar lesion to physiotherapist who specializes in dizziness and imbalance. Therapist can evaluate, establish functional goals, begin appropriate treatment intervention, and achieve the best outcome possible. Physical therapy intervention. Treatments that promote sensory integration and postural control are critical for this population. If peripheral vestibular hypofunction is identified, gaze stability exercises are the intervention of choice to improve the gain in VOR. Even if there is no peripheral vestibular loss, the patients with oculomotor deficits causing dizziness can benefit from habituation exercises to decrease symptoms provoked by movements of both self and environment. Patients with cerebellar damage, regardless of the causes or location, exhibit persistent errors in movement. These movement errors are always on the same side of the body as the damage to the cerebellum, reflecting the cerebellum's unusual status as a brain structure in which sensory and motor information is represented ipsilaterally rather than contralaterally. Furthermore, somatic, visual, and other inputs are represented topographically within the cerebellum. As a result, the movement deficits may be quite specific. Example: One of the most common cerebellar syndrome is caused by degeneration in the anterior portion of the cerebellar cortex in the patient with a long history of alcohol abuse. Such damage specifically affects movement in the lower limbs, which represented in the anterior spinocerebellum. The consequences include a wide and staggering gait with little impairment of arm and hand movements. Thus, topographical organization of the cerebellum allows cerebellar damage to disrupt the coordination of movements performed by some muscle groups but not others. The pathological changes in a variety of neurological disease provide insight about the function of the cerebellum. Example: chronic alcohol abuse has caused degeneration of the anterior cerebellum while leaving other cerebellar lesions. The implications of these pathologies is that the cerebellum is normally capable of integrating the moment to moment action of muscles and joints throughout the body to ensure the smooth execution of a full range of motor behaviors. Thus, cerebellar lesions lead first and foremost to lack of coordination of ongoing movements. Example: damage to vestibulocerebellum impairs the ability to stand upright and maintain the direction of gaze. The eyes have difficulty maintaining fixation. They drift from the target and then jump back with a corrective saccade, a phenomena nystagmus. Disruption of pathways to the vestibular nuclei may also result in a loss of muscle tone. In contrast, patients with damage to the spinocerebellum have difficulty controlling walking movements. They have a wide-based gait with small shuffling movements, which represents the inappropriate operation of group muscles that normally rely on sensory feedback to produce smooth, concreted actions. The patients also have difficulty performing rapid alternating movements such as heel to shin or finger to nose test, a sign referred to as dysdiadochokinesia. Over and underreaching may also occur, called dysmetry. During the movement, tremors called action or intention tremors accompany over and undershooting of movement due to disruption of the mechanism for detecting and correcting movement errors. Finally, lesions of the cerebrocerebellum produce impairments in highly skilled sequence of learned movements, such as playing a musical instrument. The common denominator of all these signs, regardless of the site of lesion, is the inability to perform smooth directed movements. Cerebellar tremor, also known as kinetic action or intentional tremor, is a dyskinetic disorder characterized by broad course and low frequency tremor. Tremor is a condition where goal directed movements produce shaking in the moving body parts, most noticeably in the hand. It is more obvious when performing delicate fine movements than broad sweeping ones. The amplitude of the cerebellar tremor increases as an extremity approaches the endpoint of deliberate and visually guided movement. A cerebellar tremor is usually perpendicular to the direction of movement. It is the result of dysfunction of cerebellum, particularly on the same side in the lateral zone, which controls visually guided movements. Cerebellar tremor patients have difficulty in performing their activities. Cerebellar tremor patients face difficulty in performing their activities of daily living. Intentional tremors that are caused by normal everyday activities such as stress, anxiety, fear, anger, caffeine, fatigue do not seem to result from damage to any part of brain. These tremors instead seems to be temporary worsening of a small tremor that is present in every human. These tremors generally go away with time. Electrophysiological studies can be useful in determining frequency of the tremor Accelerometric studies quantify tremor amplitude. MRI used to locate the damage and degradation of the cerebellum that may be causing the intentional tremor. There is no established pharmacological treatment for intentional tremors. Several drugs have been found to have positive effects on intentional tremors and used as treatment. Isoniazid, bupropion, hydrochloride, glutathamide, carbamazepine, clonazepam, bupropion, topiramate, zofran, propranolol have all seen moderate results in treating intention tremor. Physiotherapy has not much focused on research in the management of tremors. Very few widely accepted physiotherapy techniques in tremor management are relaxation exercise, biofeedback, stretching exercise, and strengthening exercise. Thank you.